Today we're going to talk about local SEO, how to rank your business in the Google Local 3-pack, the map pack, or the local section of search. On the agenda, we're going to talk about understanding local SEO, Google profile optimization, on-page SEO for local, and on-page local SEO strategies. We'll follow up with a Q&A session, and let's get going. My name is Kevin Rhodes. I am the founder of Gadgetlesstech Digital Marketing. We actually got our start back in 2009. Started out as a small e-commerce startup selling consumer electronics. Since then, I've had the opportunity to work for a few of the country's largest agencies. Reinvented Gadgetlesstech as a full-service digital marketing agency. Probably around like 2016 or so. Right now, we manage 55 clients across the US, a lot of home services, professional services, people in the medical profession, and a bunch of different verticals. A large number of those clients actually do rank on the first page of Google for their primary keywords. Today we have Brianna Ruffin with us. She's one of our support assistants. She will be sending you off some goodies, getting you on my calendar if need be, and calling on you for questions at the very end. Okay, so first things first is to really get an understanding of what local SEO is, how it kind of is different than typical SEO, and what a search engine results page kind of looks like. And that's kind of the really the most important thing. And just knowing how that page is broken down will give you a better sense for you local business owners as to why you would want to appear in the local section of search. So when we look at a SERP, and at the very top of the page, you'll always have paid ads. Just recently, Google Bard is come out, and it's now the generative AI experience for Google. You'll now have that showing up just below the ads, and then you have that local maps or the 3-pack section of search, right? It's a very coveted spot to appear. Just so you know, that first position garners about 60% of all search queries. The second position, about 20%. That third position, about 10%. And then that remaining 10% is scattered throughout the SERP. And that's primarily between the top 10 positions in the organic section of search. So, for you local business owners, if you don't rank there, you should really start trying. And once you do, it can have a dramatic effect on your business. Under there is the organic section of search. We found through countless studies and case studies and websites that we ranked that people are generally looking for information inside of that organic section, right? Typically what you'll find is that your blog content or maybe any off-page SEO assets that you have might appear there. Things like, let's say you're sharing articles to Medium or some sort of article sharing site with very high authority. Could be your Yelp listing might appear under there as well. And it could also be your website, depending on how well that website is actually optimized. So organic section of search is a very good place to also appear. You can educate your consumers or your prospects pretty well from that position. When you have appearance in both that local section of search and the organic section of search, it works out really well, and it creates a lot of trust for your business, a lot of authority for your business, and that's kind of the best way to really go about it. We've got numerous clients here that actually dominate certain SERPs, and they hold both of those positions, and some even two or three positions in the organic section of search. And those businesses generally do really, really well. Just below that is also the people also ask section of search. And, I'm sure you've gone ahead and done a search inside of Google. It will autofill, and then it'll list a bunch of questions for you. That's the people also ask function of a Google search page. Super duper important for you as well. The order of or the order in which Google begins displaying those questions is not by random and not by chance. It's by the frequency of those questions being asked. So when you're building out, let's say your FAQs page, right? You would want to include those questions inside of of your FAQs page, right? And then we'll talk about this a little bit later. Your Google Business Profile, which is going to appear here inside of the three pack or the local pack. There's a place for you to be able to optimize your Google Business Profile for FAQs questions. So what better place to actually take these people also ask questions and dump them into your Google Business Profile? You're already answering that question. It's going to solidify your position there, and rest assured, many of your competitors are not doing that. So it's a great place to actually add those PAA questions that drop down there and add them into your profile. So the difference between really general SEO and local SEO is just that, it's geospecific, right? You want to specifically target your local marketplace, and then you would want to branch outward, right? You're going to be optimizing for local searches, right? How people appear locally or search locally, right? And you want your business to appear for those. This significantly impacts brick and mortar businesses, any type of service-based businesses. It helps those brick and mortars to actually drive foot traffic. And you'll do that through increased online visibility. If you do own a brick and mortar shop, it's a way to create dual streams of income, right? Your website can be selling for you 24/7, and during the day, it's driving foot traffic into your business. I think something to the tune of 47% of all searches have local intent, right? That's a large portion of search. So lots and lots of people are actually looking for local businesses to provide them with service, answer questions, all of these sort of good things. So you'll want to first start by identifying location-based keywords, right? And then developing content around that. But local SEO will directly impact your business's visibility inside that local or that three pack. And it'll also create what we call EAT, or experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness inside of that local marketplace as well. The key to it all is really claiming that Google Business Profile, right? And not only that, but optimizing that as much as you possibly can. You'll hear me say this in every training that we do here, that Google is the biggest narcissist, right? It loves nothing more than itself, and it will go and reward those that actually use its products. It's proven time and time again. Um, so what better way, right, to have your business appear on a Google search than using a Google property, which they display prominently at the top of the page, right? And that's your Google business profile. So if you remember from the last slide, we break down a search page by paid ads. Then we talk about local service ads, and then we do our local section of search, and then we do organics, and then the people also ask, right? So that that Google business profile is key to your appearance inside that local or map app, right? So once that's actually claimed, you're going to want to go ahead and edit that profile, right? You're also going to want to add photos to that profile, right? Of your products. If you're a service-based business, maybe people performing that particular service. Um, you're going to want to add those products and services to both these product and services portions of your profile. If you book clients, if you schedule appointments, that can be done directly through your Google Business profile. Set it up. Like even if you're like a plumber or a roofer, go ahead and add times where people can book times. This thing can actually be connected to your Calendly, to your Google Calendar, and so on and so forth. Ensure that you're also setting up that you can receive phone calls through your Google Business profile, right? Yeah, have the more you optimize this, the better you will actually appear in search. All too often, we see clients come, um, local based businesses. We just recently took on one with 7 locations, a big HVAC company. And for the life of me, I mean, I couldn't believe that, the previous company didn't take the time to take all 7 of those individual profiles and just simply optimize them. That's half the battle, right? It's just getting the optimization right there. Um, there's a whole Q&A section. You as a business owner know, the frequency at which people ask you questions, that call your phone and repetitively ask those questions, email you. I personally don't want to answer those questions over and over again. I'd rather provide it on our FAQs page. I'd rather provide it within our Google Business profile and have people answer those, have answers readily available to those people there. Saves time, saves energy, and you know what? People will go ahead and say, "Wow, you made yourself halfway through the sale just by answering all of those questions that are typically asked of your business." Um, be sure to select the proper category for your business and how you go about doing this, right? Let's say you're a roofing contractor or you're a life coach or whatever industry you might be in. Jump on Google, do a search for that, right? Roofing contractor in, Stamford, Connecticut, and see what those top 3 listings are, right? Go and look at what category those businesses are listed under. There are literally thousands of different categories and multiple categories that your business would fit into. But you want to identify the ones that Google is currently rewarding, right? And then there's subcategories. If the top 3 listings are only using 5 of those, you go ahead and you add those 5. You don't add 10, you don't add 20. Go ahead and add those 5. You've already identified what Google is rewarding, and all you now want to do is simply duplicate that. And how you're going to make your profile better is that you're going to do a lot of those things that I mentioned earlier. You're going to add more images, right? You're going to turn on the call function. You're going to have a better Q&A section and so on and so forth. Make sure that your logo is there, right? Add really good images of your services, of your products. Get those things in there. Be very descriptive in your descriptions of those products and services, right? Um, you can categorize them, add categorization to them so that you can add keywords in there, right? Figure out what keywords would match up with those certain categories, right? Um, and go out there, initially find semantically related keywords that you can sort of sprinkle throughout, right? We don't want to use the same keyword over and over and over again. We would want to find semantically related ones that we can kind of sprinkle throughout. And probably the most underutilized section of excuse me, of the Google business profile is the ability to add updates and share your products, your services, and your blog content, right? So there is a section. We didn't take a snapshot of this, but to the right of here is a portion where you can add updates, right? If you're writing blog content, add your blog content to this particular section of the Google Business Profile, right? It will take you a long, long way. You can add products and services there. Inside of there, there is a drop down which will add a call to action button. That button can be listed as book. It can be listed as order online. It can be listed as buy, learn more, sign up, call now, any of these things. Um, Ideally, you would want to be posting to your Google business profile at least 3 times a week. If you do that, you will see a significant improvements in the way that your business appears, the amount of traffic that you actually receive, and so on and so forth. One way that you can also kind of pair the two together with your website is take an embed, right? Don't copy and paste that link, actually get that embed code and embed that map inside of your website. Um, there's an SEO benefit to actually embedding and creating what we know in code terms an iframe inside of that content. So, and sometimes we'll even go as far as embedding those Google Maps inside of content that we might be sharing outside of our own website or for off-page purposes. Directory citations, right? If you don't know, probably one of the most important things for a local business are directory citations. Just so you know that there are 2 types of links. There are those that are do follow, and then there are those that are no follow links. Do follow links are ones where the authority from the site that is linking to you will pass on what we call link juice or link equity, right? So you gain some benefit from a more authoritative site actually linking to your less authoritative site, right? That's the way you would hope for it to work. But in many instances, people will, jump on Fiverr and go and buy the 100 links for $10 and think that there's some benefit in that. The reason why that they're not beneficial is because they don't have the authority to really have any real use to your business. But directory citations are really big for local SEO. You'll want to ensure that your NAP information or your name address and phone number information is universal across the board, right? There are literally thousands of different directory listing sites. Many of them, Google Business Profile being the preeminent one, and then you have things like Yelp and Foursquare and Manta and Merchant Circle and all of these different places. The more places that your business can be found, uh, from a branding perspective, your brand name, your address, your phone number, the better off you'll be. Most of these directory listing sites are no follow links, but that doesn't mean that they don't have value, right? In the very early stages of doing uh, any sort of on-page SEO or local SEO or even the off-page, you'll want to ensure that you have as many impressions out there across the web as you possibly can. Um, there's something called entity SEO that is kind of the new wave, right? And if you think about it this way, an entity is a person, place, or thing, right? Equivalent to a noun. And then when you look at it from a broader perspective, it's actually the aggregate of your online assets, right? So the bigger your footprint online, generally the better you'll do. I mean, all things considered. But there are literally thousands of directory citations that you'll want to acquire. You can get someone in your office. You can hire a VA to do this sort of work, or you can do it yourself, right? What I would try to avoid when going out there and building those, of course, you're going to have your NAP information, but you're also going to want to include a description of your business. And this is where people kind of get it mixed up. Um, they'll take the very same description and they'll use it on 1,000 different websites. Usually not a very good idea, right? So it kind of looks really spammy in the eyes of Google. So what you'd want to do is you want to have some variations of that. Back in the day, um, this was a very time-consuming process, right? But now you have things like Chat GPT and all sorts of AI writers where you can, create a description of your business, right? And you can take that and throw that in the Chat GPT and say, hey, give me 1,000 variations of this description, and you can have those in a matter of minutes, right? So super duper easy stuff to do. And you could even hire a VA to do it, so you don't have to be, adding these, copying and pasting these things in yourself, and it'll go by relatively quickly. Um, You'll want to choose the most relevant directories. You'll obviously want to get all of the biggest ones, the most well-known ones that do have very big authority and are trustworthy sources. Um, and then you'll want to identify those local ones. So there's paid and unpaid directories, right? Generally, the ones that are paid have more authority than those just regular ones. But um, when you are looking at diversifying your backlink profile, you would want to add some of those paid ones to your mix. It'll kind of separate you from your competition. So, if your competition is doing really well SEO wise, 9 times out of 10, they have all the citation sites that are free, right? Um, and then you'll want to monitor and manage those. One of the free goodies that I have to give to you guys today is Brianna has a list of the top 150 citation sites. If you want to drop your email in the chat, she will go ahead and get that off to you, or you can email her directly. I have a good friend that I used to work at one of these large agencies with, and he created the Locals Network. So we actually have access to that network. So she can actually get you onto that network of 100 more directory sites for free. And those are really good too. It's kind of an obscure sort of network of directory listings that will certainly kind of separate you from your competition. So if you want to get on that, she'll happily get that off to you as well. Um, so as part of the on-page process, right? And we talked a little bit about keywords, and I just want to mention that not all keywords are equal, right? Each keyword has a different intent to it, right? So when we are trying to identify the intent of a keyword, we need special tools in order to do that, right? And some of the industry standard ones out there are your SEMrush's, Ahrefs, Moz, and Majestic, right? And those are great tools for helping you to identify keyword intent. So when I speak of intent, I'm talking about, does a keyword have informational intent, right? Does it have navigational intent? Does it have commercial intent? Does it have transactional intent? So those would be the four main types of intent for your keywords, right? So when we go out there and we start building content and pages or even updating content and pages for clients, we're very conscious of the intent of those particular keywords. So when we're building like our homepage, those keywords are going to be more navigational, more informational, and that sort of thing, right? We want to educate people. We want to be able to guide them throughout our website, make it easy for them to be able to find what it is that they're looking for, and so on and so forth. On our blog page, we want to have more informational sort of keywords, right? We want to educate people. And then, through contextual links or links inside of that content, we want to direct those people to more commercialized and more transactional keywords. And those would be found on our product and service pages, right? Um, so intent is huge, and you want to build out your website or restructure it in sort of a funnel sequence, right? So you have your blog content that's got all your navigational and your informational keywords. Ideally, you would want to be syndicating that blog content to more authoritative places, right? Medium is a great site to share your content, right? And for those of you who don't know, that's a blogging site. There's I think to date 100 million monthly viewers on that site. So that's another freebie for you. Go there. It's free to use. You can build a profile, and if you are good at blogging or your content is good enough to pick up eyeballs. They even have a compensation program on there where they will compensate you for your blogging content. So other great places to syndicate, YouTube, any sort of social media is a great place to push out your content and get additional eyeballs on it. You certainly want to integrate all of local sort of keywords into your content, and you'll want to ensure that when you are building out that content that it meets three things. You want to have your keyword in there, you want to have your location in there, and you want to have your brand in there. So when we go and we create our copy, our title tags, our meta descriptions, anything with on-page focus, right? We are using those sort of three variations. So we're going to use that keyword plus location. So in our instance here, it would be SEO agency Stanford or SEO agency Connecticut or SEO agency Stanford, Connecticut. So any of that content that we're building, right, we're including both that keyword and that location. Now you can take that a step further. You're going to add your brand to that, right? Our brand is Gadgetlesstech. We're going to talk about Gadgetlesstech throughout this content, or we're going to make some mention thereof of Gadgetlesstech. We're going to use our brand plus this keyword, Gadgetlesstech SEO agency. We're going to add our brand plus location, Gadgetlesstech Stanford, Connecticut. All of these variations you should be associating with your keywords and kind of mixing that up throughout your content and throughout the site. And that's sort of just at a very high level the basis of on-page SEO for your local business. And then probably the holy grail of it all, right? You obviously want to have good technical SEO. You want to have good on-page SEO, and all of those things kind of play off of one another. But the magic really happens when you start doing off-page, right? Um, Backlink building, we talked about that. It's hugely, hugely important, right? Your citations are a type of backlink. I think we just gave you about 250 backlinks via that list that Brianna will give to you, and those are very, very safe links to use. The only issue with those is that many of them are no follow links, which means that the equity from those particular sites doesn't flow through to your own, which is okay. You're still utilizing the benefit of having your name, address, phone number information out there, right? Website and email address as well included in those descriptions on those sites. But when you are looking for more authoritative links, there's something called parasite SEO. And parasite SEO is a type of SEO where you use the authority of another site. And through a do follow link. So that means that that link equity from that site actually pushes through to your own, and that gives you a vote of confidence in the eyes of Google. There are guest posts or guest blogging. You may have heard of this term, is very, very popular today. I must get 20, 30 emails a day from people offering me guest posting services. It works. Parasite SEO definitely works. It's a great way to get your brand message out there, get your brand out there, and get your products and services out there as well. A great site that you can actually use to do this is we use oftentimes a site called Adsy, adsy.com. And it's a great site. You can buy links from New York Times, Washington Post, Forbes, any number of sources. But for those types of links, you have to have some pretty deep pockets. One link from, any which one of those sources can cost as much as $10,000 for a simple link, right? But it's not every day that, you can have a link on the New York Times. But the good news is that you can buy links there for as little as $15, right? But my thing is that caveat emptor, right? Let the buyer beware. Generally, you get what you pay for, right? So, a link for $15 on some random website generally isn't going to be as authoritative as one from the New York Times. However, the strategy would really be to go for relevance, right? If you don't have very deep pockets to spend on links, if you are buying less authoritative links that are very relevant to your business, let's say you're a plumbing company and you're buying a link from a plumbing supply store, those are very, very relevant links. That link is probably as authoritative um, to your business as one that were, a very high authority because of its relevance. Those two topics would match up perfectly, in fact. So, yeah, so that's kind of a site that you guys can use. There's Authority Builders, which is another great place. Traditionally, link building is done through outreach. At some of the agencies that I've worked for in the past, there were teams of people that was their job all day was to email and make phone calls and, identify linking sources through cold outreach. Um, Social media um, great for local businesses. Add your social media profiles to your web page. Make that connection so that Google recognizes those social signals that you are in fact sending. Don't add it to the top of your homepage. Always add your social media to the footer of your website. You never want to bring people to your website, have them jump on social media. They'll never come back because they will infinitely scroll and scroll and they will have forgotten about you. But you do want to make some reference to it or put it on your contact page or something like that, but never on your homepage at the top of the page. Um, Online reputation management, huge, 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 right? Make sure that you're garnering reviews. You have some sort of review campaign, right? And you're reaching out and you're responding to those reviews. Use those reviews, both good and bad, in and your responses to them as opportunities to drop your keywords, right? Hey, Mr. Smith, thank you for using our emergency plumbing service. And emergency plumbing service is a highly sought after keyword. So you've just dropped that in one of your reviews and got yourself a keyword mention, right? Influencer marketing. Um, you think of, oh, well, how am I going to get on the Taylor Swift, IG page? Probably not going to happen. You've got some pretty deep pockets, but there are micro influencers, right? If you use something like Instagram, right, and you were to type in the search bar promo, all in lowercase, or if you even want to get very niche specific with it, let's say, whatever industry you serve, plumbing promo or home services promo. You could be as granular as that in those searches. Also, be sure to include that in all caps, capital P, capital R, capital O, capital M, capital O. That will bring back a different set of results for you. And be sure to add the hashtag too, both upper and lowercase, and that will bring back a different set of results. And you can find micro influencers, 20,000 followers, 100,000 followers. A lot of these guys are happy to take 50 bucks from you to promote your business for a week. That's an additional 20,000 or an additional 100,000 eyeballs that you have now gotten your business out or your product or service offering out in front of that normally wouldn't have come in contact with you. And we talked about guest posting and blogging, and I've given you an option or a source to be able to do that. But even if you wanted to do a search for guest posting or guest blogging, there are a plethora of resources out there that you can find for relatively cheap to be able to do that. Um, some other great off-page advice for local businesses is, be sure that your blog content, once again, is just geo-specific. You might want to add an authorship role to your website. It's pretty easy to do inside of things like WordPress. There are plugins for that, and many of the themes. I think you would have to turn on the authorship level, fill it out, or create it inside the users portion. Or, you know what? For every blog, you can make an author mention, right? And this is going to speak to Google Eat, Google Experience, Expertise, Authoritativeness, and Trustworthiness, right? Which is a ranking factor. Um, Adding your name, your personal name, your business name is gonna help you to be identified as someone who does have experience, expertise. It's going to help to build authoritativeness for your brand, and it's certainly going to help build trust, not only amongst your readership, but amongst the search engines as well. Um, and as you're creating content, your Facebook page, your Instagram, make sure that your name, address, and phone number appears across all of those platforms, right? Um, Wherever your business is listed, you're going to certainly want to make sure that that NAP information is appearing, and you're also going to make sure that it is consistent. If you use LLC in your business name, make sure that you're using LLC across all platforms. Make sure that there are no variations. You're not using acronyms for your business name in certain areas, and using your full business or your legal business name in other areas. Make sure that that stuff is super duper consistent. And it will certainly help with your rankings, and especially with Google Eat too. Um, Choose all those relevant directories, right? There's tons of directories. Again, if you went out there and you did a Google search for um, plumbing citation directories, life coach citation directories. You can find a plethora of those things, and all it takes is to, build a list. If you can garner up a list of 50, 100, right, whatever, 1,000 for your specific business niche. Dump that off to a virtual assistant and have them, do what I told you to do. Create 1,000 different descriptions for your business in Chat GPT, and let them go ahead and copy and paste that into those individual directory listing sites. Um, Build relationships with local businesses, right? Um, your chamber of commerce meetings, even Alignable. You can do that here on Alignable. You can reach out to businesses. Hey, you know what? I see we're in similar businesses. I learned that it's important for us to have uh, uh, backlinks. Can we do a link exchange? I'll drop a link on my site, or you drop one on yours. You can even exploit the Alignable community. Hey, you know what? I just met this person. You're in a smart connect or whatever. Hey, how about we can I do a guest post on your website? You know how many people on this platform would be so open to doing that? You writing a piece of content and dropping it on their blog. You're obviously going to want to first invest in one of those tools that I mentioned, Ahrefs, Moz, Majestic, or SEMrush, just to make sure that those websites that those folks actually owned can provide some value to you. But yeah, why wouldn't you do that? That's a great way to be able to build mutually beneficial links for both those in the Alignable community, or whatever communities, BNI, whatever it is that you're doing, and link those back to your site. It'll definitely give you a boost too. And then on top of it, if you're able to do that inside of your local market, right, you're going to get the geo relevance of those links as well. So it goes a long, long way. Um, Sponsorships, right? Community involvement, maybe you do PAL, maybe you sponsor your kid's soccer league or whatever. Who doesn't have a website today, right? Hey, you know what? Use that as an opportunity, right? You did a sponsorship. Hey, I sponsored you guys. I helped to buy Johnny's basketball uniform. you know, um, how about we get a link on that on your site for that, or we could do a mutual link exchange, anything like that. But definitely continue to build links for your business. That's probably the most important thing that you can do as a local business, right? To get yourself up in the rankings, and just make sure that those links that you're building have some geo relevance to it, because that's the whole thing behind local SEO. And that's all I really have for you guys today. We can open it up for questions. I think we have, let me see what time it is here. I wasn't really keeping track of time, but 12:49. You got beautiful. Yeah, so anybody have questions? See any questions there, Bree? You're on mute, by the way. Oh,
No
there you go.
questions in the chat.
There's questions in the chat?
No, there's none in the chat.
No? Anybody want to come off mute and ask a question? Any questions that you have?
I I got in a little bit late, and so I realized I missed quite a bit, but I would love to it seems like a lot for me to do on my own.
Sure.
Is that what you do? Is this what you are in the business of doing for clients?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you probably missed I heard you say you missed the first portion. Yes, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm the founder of Gadgetlesstech Digital
Mm-hmm.
Marketing. So we're a full service digital marketing agency. We do this for clients. Right now we manage 55 clients across the US, of various scales and scopes,
I'm sorry. My video was
smaller
on.
businesses and even medium-sized, almost enterprise level businesses. So yeah.
Okay, okay. And I have like a website builder, kind of tech guy that
Mhm.
does my keeps my website um open and stuff. Do you work with the build? I mean, with
Oh, certainly.
a person's IT?
Absolutely. I if that's how you operate, we can certainly lend guidance. You know, our ideal situation is in the majority of clients that we have here, we we manage everything, right? So we control the narrative of that website because it's hugely important for SEO. Web
Mm-hmm.
designers, IT guys are not SEOs typically, right?
Right, right.
So usually the content that they're putting on those websites is not search engine optimized, right? So it's not optimized for search. So that's where the disconnect comes in. And that's where those kind of clients don't typically reap the full benefits of what we would typically have to offer. But yeah,
Okay,
we can certainly consult and do all that sort of stuff.
okay, okay. Because yeah, as a matter of fact, to speak on what you just said about what they don't typically do, I write my own content, and he
Oh,
just
wow.
updates my site with it. So
Okay.
it's like no recommendations or anything like that, and
Mhm.
keyword and all that stuff. There's none of that. So I definitely will be contacting you. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for
perfect.
this.
I appreciate you asking.
Mhm.
Kevin, we have a question from Nicole Donaway.
Okay.
She said that this has opened up an entirely new thing for me, but can you explain backlinks? I don't really understand them.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. So you have your website, right? And your website stands as its own entity. So your website, without having had done any real SEO, there's something called authority, right? So your website would rank either between 0 and 100, right, on an authority scale. When you're first starting out, everybody starts out at 0, right? So as you're sort of growing your business and growing your online visibility, the way in which you would do that is you would build backlinks. So backlinks are nothing more than a mention on a site that's not your own, right? And let's say, for instance, that New York Times link that I talked about, right? There was an article on the New York Times, and I'm sure you've seen it a million times before. Inside that article, you'll see that some of that text might be highlighted, right? And when you click on that text, it takes you to a website outside of the New York Times, right? So a backlink for that business that that's linking from the New York Times, that would be a backlink, right? So any sort of link that links back to another site is a backlink, and I hope that makes sense.
Nicole also said that she does her own content and she's currently ranking around 77 to 80 right now.
Ranking
Yes.
77 to 80.
Yes.
Keywords. I'm not so sure I understand. Because 77 to 80, like an authority score is,
Work and SEO.
I don't, say it again.
She said, I do my own content. I'm ranking around 77 through 80 right now. I do keywords and SEO.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't have a response to that. I don't know if that's a question or if that's a statement or in, you know, yeah. Yeah, if you rank for 77 or 80 keywords, that's great. Hopefully that would be, within the top three, for those to truly have any real benefit. You have to remember that 60% of all search queries go to that number one position, 20% to that second position, 10% to that third position, and that other 10% just sort of gets scattered around. So yeah, no, kudos to you. I mean, 70 to 80 keywords. It's good if you're doing it on your own. Hopefully, you're in position one. If in fact you're talking about domain authority, um, I'd love to see your website if you have a domain authority of 70 to 80%. You think of sites like Google that have domain authority of 90%, or maybe even a site like Medium that has 100 million visitors every month might be an 80%. So that's one of the metrics there is traffic. So you would have to have traffic volumes in that amount to have a domain rating or a domain authority score 70 to 80%. Any other questions? That's it. Good to go. Okay. All right. Outstanding. Well, I appreciate everyone for attending.